nuaneznow.com.
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. It's time for Montana's only daily sports talk show, Nuanez Now. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
I like football!
Now here's your host, Coulter Nuanez.
Yo, what's up, Montana? Welcome in, 102.9 ESPN Radio. You're listening to Nuanez Now. Hope you're having a great Thursday. It's right there, teetering between 89 and 91, depending on where you're at in Western Montana. Dare I say summer is here? I don't know. Officially not here for a couple more weeks with the summer solstice less than a month away. But it's a hot one in Western Montana. Hopefully the athletes that are competing in and around Missoula and the Bitterroot Valley, which there's a lot of them because you got AA and B state track that's about to be underway. You also got state softball that is underway, both of those in Missoula. You also have Class A softball going on down in Hamilton. You got BC tennis going on in Missoula starting tomorrow as well. So, hopefully you're enjoying it today because it's like 60% chance of rain tomorrow, 70% chance of rain on Saturday. Bummer that the rain is on the way, but what else do we expect when it comes to life in Montana? We'll give you all the scores we can possibly track down. State baseball got started early today, so they actually have some finals in the books. Softball is going right now, and I got some scores out of the AA, thanks to our good man Sean Rainey for the assist. He is down there on the scene at AA softball right now, so he texted me a couple scores. We'll be perusing the Twitter machine as well. We'll give you as many updates as we possibly can. Sort of intermittently here. I plan to have updates for you here right off the top. Another at 4:45, another at the top of the 5 o'clock hour, another at 5:30. We also have some fun guests for you here today as well. We're going to hear from Ryan Tutel in hour number 2. That's going to be your lead segment in the second hour. We're also going to talk some NBA in hour number 2. But also, one familiar face, one familiar name, but another that's new to this show. This is a really cool deal. We've talked about this a little bit, but a whole group of Grizz football alumni have gotten together to form a Grizzly Football Players Association. This is for anybody and everybody that's ever played for the Grizz football team. And it's at the same time just sort of a social group, a networking group, a fundraising group, but more than anything, it's just a way for guys to stay connected to each other, to guys from their own era and maybe even other eras of Grizz football, and to sort of just be there for each other and have shared experiences. They also are going to try to raise a little bit of money to give back to Grizz football team and the Grizz athletic department and all that stuff. But we had Brian Toon on the show. Brian is owner-operator of Jewelry Design Center. He was a great player for the Grizz in the mid-'90s, defensive tackle on the 1995 National Championship Grizz. He was a senior in 1996. Guy that won a state championship in Butte, America, his senior year of high school back in 1991. And just one of my favorite guys. Love getting to know Brian through our business relationship, and now I just consider him a friend. And it's he was the president of the GFPA for a while. He's since relinquished those duties, but he is still on the board. But today we're going to hear from Ty Hobbs, who is a great friend of mine, but also now the new president of the GFPA, as well as DJ Coulter, who has helped sort of spearhead the GFPA to get things out there. DJ played defensive tackle for the Grizz in the mid-1990s. Hobbs played defensive tackle for the Grizz in the late 2000s. Hobbs has been on the show a bunch because he was a high school coach for a while. Coached Missoula Big Skies girls, coached Missoula Sentinels girls. So we've talked high school hoops with them a whole ton on here. But this is his debut talking a little football. They are launching a podcast, which is going to be an extension of our podcast network. But they're just going to have, guys from various eras on to just BS and talk football. So we sort of set that up, and we also talk about a couple of the events that they have coming up. So we'll play that interview for you with Ty Hobbs and DJ Coulter coming up about 4:30. You got Ryan Tuto coming up at the top of the hour at 5 o'clock as well, and we will give you as many of the state scores that we can possibly round up. So there you go. It's your show outlook here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. You want to stream it? You always can, 1029ESPN.com. You can also find us on the ESPN MT app. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Facebook. And you can find us on Twitch. And if you'd like to be a part of the show, 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Call it or text it. Let us know what you want us to talk about. Anything and everything is on the table. You got comments. You got talking points. You got questions. You got criticisms. You want to start an argument. Bring it. All of it's good. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Let us know what you want us to talk about. We are coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned. They now have one bin recycling for you. They'll pick it up at your house twice a month. You want to make the switch or add the service or both. 406-541-7171. That's 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Let's do a prep extra. It's proudly presented by Vertical Raise. Vertical Raise, the elite online fundraising platform for high school sports around the state of Montana. You want the biggest checks for your high school sports organization. Visit verticalraise406.com. First from the Class AA baseball tournament. This is playing out in Butte. There's a handful of games that have gone down today. I'm trying to find some scores here. Well, I thought I had it here on Twitter, but it looks like actually this is from the tournament play-in games, courtesy of DJ Bauer, who's on the scene there in Butte. CMR and Glacier played at 10 a.m. I'll track down a score for that one as soon as we can. But we'll turn our attention. I'm sorry. I thought I had the right Twitter feed pulled up here, but I do not. So we're going to turn our attention to baseball because this is not on the Twitter, to softball, excuse me, because this is not on the Twitter feed. This is straight from our good buddy Sean Rainey. Great Falls CMR won its opener 5-2 in the AA state softball tournament. So the wrestlers moving on. Kalispell Glacier also cruised into the semifinals as well earlier today. They are expected to be one of the top contenders once again. They've won 3 out of the last 4 state championships. Belgrade currently up 6-3 as that matchup with Big Sky is coming down to the wire. Oh, excuse me. Great Falls CMR beat Kalispell Glacier 5-2, so that's actually a little bit of an upset there. But good job by CMR for getting after the Wolfpack. Wolfpack dropping in the losers bracket, so that's a little bit of an unrest. Big Sky is losing to Belgrade right now, 6-3. So there's your update on AA softball. When it comes to Class A softball, Frenchtown, Laurel, Libby, and Lockwood all won in their tournament openers. So the way Class A works is 4 teams get byes, and then another 8 teams play sort of first-round games. So Frenchtown, who was the number 2 team out of the Southwest, they defeated Havre 24-11. That was a run rule game. The Bronx advanced to face Columbia Falls. That one just started at 3:30. So we'll get a score from that one if we can. Libby beat Ronan 3-1 to get their tournament off to a nice start. And they'll move on to play Building Central. That one's also going on right now. Laurel, who's the number 2 seed out of the Southeast, they drilled Polson 13-4. So Locomotives move on to play Lewistown, who got a bye. And then Lockwood, they beat Glendive 4-1. So they then advanced to play host Hamilton in the second round of this tournament. In terms of BC, have not seen any scores from that tournament yet. That one's going down in Billings. Most of these just started like within the last 2 hours. So we'll track down as many of these scores for you as we can. When it comes to state tennis, a couple of the main storylines to watch include the unbelievable individual talents of the AA level. Mason McCarty for the Bozeman Gallatin boys He not only has never lost a match in his career, he's never lost a set. He's going for his fourth straight state championship. He's a University of Montana-bound senior there for Bozeman Gallatin. So he has been utterly impressive so far, and he cruised to a dominant win earlier today, as did Elliot Basinger. She is also going for her fourth straight title. She's never lost a match in her high school career either. She won 6-0, 6-0. And McCarty also just basically steamrolled his opponent. He won 6-0, 6-0 as well. So both of those potential four-time champions off to a great start as they pursue their four-peats at the AA state tennis tournaments. Looks like... Oh, here's why I can't find any baseball scores, because looks like some of this was altered due to weather. So we'll keep tracking them down. I'll have these more in front of me when we do our next update. I thought I had the Twitter feeds on lock, but I guess not so fast. We'll take a break right now. We'll come back and we'll hear about a new and fun podcast, which I think is going to be very entertaining. And it's also sort of a part of supporting a worthwhile organization. That's the Grizz Football Players Association. By the way, here's some scores from the BC softball tournament. Glasgow had Florence on the ropes, and Manhattan was pounding Troy. Glasgow was up 2-1 in the sixth over Florence, but Florence battles back. They scored 6 runs in the sixth inning to move on by defeating Glasgow 7-4. Manhattan, they handled Troy 11-1. So Manhattan and Florence, two of the powers in the BC softball tournament, they move on. We'll come back and help debut a new podcast series with a variety of former Grizz, but a couple of them who are spearheading this podcast idea. Join us next. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the uniquely designed and well-equipped 2024 Buick Encore GX with models starting at $28,895. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to demorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Encores and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
It's easy to see why Montana is the treasure state. At the University of Montana, we look inside. We see an old truth with fresh eyes, that Montana's greatest treasure is its people. So whatever tomorrow brings, we meet it the only way we know how, with a mind for making. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Track and field athletes from Montana performed well at conference championships across the country over the last couple weeks, setting PRs and scoring points for their collegiate teams. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Colorado State senior Claire Kovach, who's a Sealy Swan product, won her second straight outdoor women's discus championship in the Mountain West to lead a sweep of the Rams through the top three spots. Kovach threw 191 feet 7 inches on her fifth attempt to win gold. In the women's triple jump at the Mountain West meet, San Jose State grad transfer Audrey McElmurray, who hails from Missoula Sentinel, placed second with a jump of 42 feet 3.5 inches. Fellow Missoulian Alex Mund, who's a sophomore at Boise State and went to Hellgate, was 16th in the event. Northern Arizona junior Haley Burns, a Bozeman High grad, won twice at the Big Sky Outdoor Championships to keep a 6-year run by the Lumberjacks going. She stood atop the podium in the 800 meters and the 1500 meters. Portland State's Emma Stolte, who comes from Townsend, finished second in the 1500 meters behind Burns before winning the 5000 meters, becoming the first Viking to ever win the event. Elon's Hannah Shonoff, who also hails from Bozeman, placed second in the women's high jump at the CAA Conference Championships. She jumped 5.925, a new personal best. And finally, Boise State freshman Aiden Simmons of Helena continued his stellar breakout season with a second straight runner-up finish in the men's triple jump with a personal best of 50 feet 4.5 inches.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
Welcome back. 129 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Our Prep Extra rolls on here as we're giving you updates from all the various high school tournaments that are going on with spring sports about to come to crescendo. The Class AA baseball tournament in Butte. This is courtesy of our friend Josh Margolis. He is on the scene for NBC Montana. Glacier pounds CMR 12-1 in the opening game of the tournament. Glacier looked great and absolutely rolled and got the run rule win, so that's going to help them preserve some energy as well when you can get out the field soon. Sentinel Bozeman, not so much. They played extra innings, but Sentinel won in walk-off fashion. A hit with the bases loaded to beat Bozeman 5-4. So that's a nice win for the Spartans, who were the AA champions. They are into the next round unscathed. And then the third game is underway. The host Butte Bulldogs are taking on Bozeman Gallatin, who is undefeated and the number one team out of the East. But Butte takes an early 1-0 lead. So that's pretty good. On a leadoff home run. You got to love a leadoff home run. That always that sets the tone in mighty fine fashion when you get to see the leadoff home run. Ricky Henderson was the man. He was the master of all of that for sure. The only thing that's going on at track so far, they always start the pole vault on day one just so they can get it all in because there's so many different athletes, and you got Class B and Class AA compete at one meet, Class A and Class C compete in another meet. So that started at 4 p.m. in Missoula for AA and B, and it started at 4 p.m. in Laurel. So we'll give you updates on that, but the full meets get started tomorrow for track and field. We gave you a little bit of tennis already, and we'll try to track down some more softball for you. But it sounds like Belgrade and Big Sky were slugging it out. Belgrade was up early, but CMR gets a win in the AA tournament in softball, 5-2 over Kalispell Glacier. So that's your first upset of the day. Vertical Raise, the premier online fundraising platform, proud to present the Prep Extra each week here on Nuanez Now. So Thursday, That means it's a Thirsty Thursday, probably presented by DraftWorks Brewing. You want a $25 gift card to DraftWorks. All you got to do is tell us what you want us to talk about. Whoever's got the best subject matter, the best debate, the best argument, bring it on. That's what we want. 406-888-1029. That's 888-1029. Let us know what you want us to talk about. 406-888-1029. Text us right now, and you'll get entered in to win a $25 gift card to DraftWorks Brewing. This next segment, this next excerpt, I should say, should be a fun one. Let's learn more about a new podcast that's about to hit the airwaves.
Told you about the GFPA a couple times, primarily on our ESPN radio channels, but also on our podcast series as well. But the GFPA is the Grizzly Football Players Association. It's been going now for a little while, and these guys are doing a great job of sort of rallying alumni of Grizz football, and now we decided we're going to cut them loose. I don't know what I think about giving a couple D tackles a podcast, but that's what we're going to do. So this is the inaugural teaser episode here. We're going to call it Cussin' and Discussin'. These guys are going to have guys on, stories from yesteryear, former Grizz on the deal, and also just tell you what's the latest and greatest with the GFPA. So Ty Hobbs, the president of the GFPA, DJ Coulter, one of the founding members of the GFPA, both joining us. What's up, gents? Thanks for doing it.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, Coulter. Thanks for having us, man.
So first of all, DJ, tell us just sort of about the entry point here, the motivation for this, because I know you guys have had a couple events, and the 30th anniversary banquet was really cool to pay homage to the 1995 team. DJ, of course, was on the 95 team as a freshman, played 95-2000 for the Grizz, and Ty played, 2007 to 2011? Do I have that right, Hobbs?
Almost. 06 to 10.
10, that's right. Senior year was 2010. So first, DJ, just tell us sort of about the entry point here for this and sort of the motivation for you guys setting up this cool organization.
Yeah, I think it's the best way to go back is when my brother passed away, who played for the Grizz. He was starting nose guard in the 2001 national championship team. And, he played from 98 to 2002. When he passed, I had a lot of guys reach out to me, guys that played way before us, during his time, after his time. And just that they gave me a lot of feedback of when we did an event that next fall and at a game, and there was hundreds of people that showed up. We did a memorial thing, and it just kind of made me think about when people would talk about my brother Kurt, he was really good at picking up the phone and calling his old teammates. And guys miss that. And over the years, I've just gotten that feedback more and more. And so I've reached out to a lot of former players over the years and said, wouldn't it be cool to put something together where guys can get together annually? Because I think, Coulter, people don't understand that when you get done playing, you lose a little bit of yourself. A lot of it's your identity, and there's some mental, emotional parts of it that you just miss. And overnight, you go from this 5 years of brotherhood. We didn't have the transfer portal back then, so you're sticking together for many years of guys that when you started as freshmen, you got to know, to when you're finally done, and those freshmen coming in when you're a senior. That's about an 8-10 year run where you get to know the guys on the team, and the bonds that you make off the field, in the locker room. Everyone sees what happens on Saturday in Wild Grizz, but no one talks about the cool parts of how we can connect and help each other on and off. And there's been tough things like losing my brother and other tragedies that have happened to players, and just how do we connect? How do we help those families? How do we do something different that's maybe not as connected to the university it can be? We can help out the current team and help support them in a way, but also just that connection of former Grizz players and generations, guys that played in the 60s, 70s, the guys that just graduated last year. And it's the connections they have and the bonds, and it's just a really neat way to make just when we can get together, there's something to it, Coulter. It's hard to explain.
Well, very cool, and I'm excited to see this thing continue to grow. Hobbs, you've been on the radio many times with me, but now you get a podcast where you don't have to censor yourself. So this is like the greatest day of your life. So tell me the motivation for launching this podcast and sort of what you have in store, especially early on here for sort of the summer lead up to the 2026 season.
Yeah, I mean, I've always thought it'd be so cool for people to hear, what happens, between the white lines, and hear just authentic, crazy stories, whether it's from, in the locker room, on the field, stuff that happens on the sidelines, or even like just strategy. I can remember at one point I was sitting down with Dylan McFarland, of course, a legend, Grizz football alum, and I just started asking him questions about the O-line, and we were kind of in the social group. There's 5 or 6 of us. And we were going back and forth, and he was talking to me about the tells that he would see from D linemen watching film, and we just started having this conversation about what happens when the D line stunts and moves left or right, or audibles, and all the things that happen pre-snap, and we're laughing and joking and having a good time and drinking a beer, and all of a sudden I look up and the people that were around are just like, oh my gosh, all that happens before the ball is snapped. And I was like, man, what a cool podcast to just like sit down and talk about all the stuff that no one sees, kind of under the hood, inside the locker room type vibe.
Well, and that's the thing I'm the most excited for too, is, I've always been a guy that analyzes the game from the line of scrimmage out. And that makes me rare in my industry, because most guys just analyze who has the ball, right? And this is not going to be something where it's just linemen, but there's going to be a lot of linemen talk on this. And I think that's going to be really fun, because I think it is. It's a part of the game I think the common fan doesn't really think about or understand. But as you guys both know, and as anybody that played in the trenches knows, it's the most important part of the game.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And then there's all the stuff, that people don't see with fall camp. There's more fans, I feel like, nowadays that come out and watch a little bit of fall camp, but that's a grind, man. And you're with you're all suffering together, and there's a lot of silly things that go on to boost morale, and a lot of jokes and stories and things being told, and it'll be fun to share some of that stuff and let people know what it's like.
Well, DJ, I love the sort of the angle too of helping guys stay connected to the football program, but also just the university as a whole. And I mean, you're so right. Like, when football ends, for any of us and all of us, it's a hard pill to swallow, because like, you can go play golf and basketball, and you can go throw around a baseball. Like, once you done playing football, you're never going to play football again. Like, you don't just put on the pads and go out and play again. So it's something that we all miss and love to stay connected to, for sure. But I thought Brian Toon, who also has had an integral role in helping found this GFPA. He told me a story once where he said, I had a teammate that had cancer, and I had no idea. They passed away, and I didn't know until after he had died. Same thing with your brother. Like, who would have known? And then all of a sudden you don't get to say goodbye. So I think that's a key. I mean, you guys just lost a part of the Grizz family. J.D. Quinn just passed away over this last weekend, and who knows? Who knows if he could have stayed connected to teammates or whatever, if things would have gone differently. So I think that's a cool motivation of this, sort of giving guys a community with people that they already know that they're sort of like-minded.
Yeah, and that's the goal. Like the J.D. Quinn thing, you just bring it up. Like, the GFPA is going to try to reach out to his family, and how can we help? What is something that that would we and again, we want to help, stay connected. I just think, Coulter, people have this misconception that they don't understand when guys get done, they give their whole sweat, tears, life for 4 to 5 years to the university, and all of a sudden it's done. Most of us don't go on to play at a different level, and I have friends, Coulter, that didn't come back for years to a game. They mentally, emotionally couldn't handle it.
It's too hard, right?
They don't understand. You're like, what? Why would that be? And it's like, well, everyone just does handle things differently, and then they move on into life, and they're in their career, they have a family, and a lot of guys get busy and they don't get back. But this is a reason. The old school home. I'm going to use it as the old school homecoming. When people, everyone wanted to come back for homecoming, Coulter. Well, that's what we're trying to make. We have our event. We're trying to do things too. And Ty will talk about our golf event and Hack Memorial, and just connecting the whole university. It's about connecting former football players, but it's also everyone else, and how can we help in a time of need? Because right now, everything's with the NIL and the GSA and the QB club. Those are all great. We're going to help support all those. But there's also the off the field, behind the scenes, both with former players. If someone has cancer, someone's wife has cancer and they're struggling, how can we help be there for them? like in a way that, and get the word out. Maybe we'll do some type of fundraiser for that family, or just try to do stuff, because sometimes people feel alone. We know the mental health stuff, Coulter, and how, it's a different world than it was even 30, 40 years ago. And just that's the point of it, in so many unique ways to connect and tell great stories, like Ty talks about. We got 2 D linemen on here. We're the most messed up part in the locker. Coulter, I mean, no one on the rest of the team would even come over to the D-line corner. So this is going to get interesting. I just want you and your listeners to know, like, there's going to be some good stuff. You're going to hear stuff you've never heard in your life talked about. We're messed up in the head, so be ready.
You listen to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. A pair of former Grizz defensive tackles, Ty Hobbs and DJ Coulter, joining us. They are from the Grizz Football Players Association, and they got a new podcast. So we're going to be doing some promotion for some of their events coming up here, and this podcast should be a good one. So here is more just about what these guys got going on. I was just laughing about this, because not to make any sort of laughs about somebody passing away, but somebody asked me if I knew J.D. Quinn well, and I said I didn't. He's the same age as I am, but I didn't know him because all my friends in college were defensive linemen, and they all refused to hang out with the offensive linemen. Like,
there was wars every day.
Yeah, exactly. That's such a rivalry, right?
I mean, there was fights. I mean, there was planned fight. That's the thing to talk about. Hey, let's start a fight in practice here, so we don't have to. Maybe we're all tired. Yeah. We don't want. I mean, there's things like that people don't know and talk about from the practice days and the battles every day. I remember in 95 when I came in, those 2 offensive tackles I went against every day were in NFL camps, and I was looking around. I remember one day back then, it was 2 practices of 2.5 full pads for over 2 weeks, Coulter.
It's crazy.
Over 2 weeks. Like,
now you can't even do it 2 a day.
No, you can't even do it. So it's like in my body, and I remember like thinking, man, I'm 7 hours from home out here from eastern Montana to western. Like, am I going to make it? Is this worth it? I'm getting my ass kicked every day. Is this worth it? And, thank God I hung in there, and I had great teammates that helped me get through it. And that's the stuff people don't talk about, how hard it is to get through those days.
That's when you start fights, is the up-tempo period, right?
Yeah.
2 or 3 snaps, and you're like, I'm fighting somebody.
Yeah.
We're going to get through this period real fast.
And it's funny now, Coulter, some of those offensive guys you battled for all those years are now some of my best buddies that we talk about and put our arms around each other. And how can we, now I'm going back to see my buddies that I played with. There's kids. All these kids are coming out. Like my brother, the national championship team, these 3 guys that just committed. I mean, their dads played. I reached out to all of them, and just friends of friends, and just how cool it is. And that's a brother. They're so proud. Just that's such a neat connection.
Well, Hobbs still doesn't have a friend that's an offensive lineman besides me, I don't think.
It's like 2 separate teams.
That's right.
Merged into one team on Saturday.
That's right. Well, tell us about some of the stuff you got coming up, just from like an events perspective, because we're going to collaborate on something. We're going to do a fun sort of meet and greet type party on June 18th at the Mo Club, downtown Missoula. I'll be doing my ESPN radio show live from there, and there'll be a gathering for the GFPA. So if you are a Grizz alumni, please come on out and say what's up to these guys. Also, if you're not, come to, it's Mo Club. It's a public place. You all come. Everybody's welcome to come hang out and have a burger and a beer. But if you are specifically a Grizz alum, please come hang out with us on June 18th. It's the day before the Quarterback Club Scramble, which will take place at Canyon River on Friday of that week. But Hobbs, tell me just sort of about that event and sort of what you're expecting to get out of it.
Yeah, right now one of our biggest goals is just connecting with our football alumni, finding out where they're at and what they're doing, and this is a way to hopefully grab our local guys that are here that can come down and have a beer and real informal, and let them know kind of what we've got going and what the goal is of this organization, and would love to see them be a part of it. That's the goal. DJ's talked about the brotherhood, and right now we want to connect. We want to connect all these guys across all eras, right? As I've gone through my adult life here in town, there's so many times where I run into someone who's maybe played in the 70s and they're an insurance guy or an accountant or something, and I always look back and go, man, I wish I had like a database of former Grizz football players who are here in town that are doing business. So when I needed a service and I needed to connect with a guy, that would be my first call. They've been through all the stuff that I've been through. They understand. We speak the same language. And so this kind of informal social on June 18th will be a great opportunity to just get together. Hoping all the guys from around town can come on in, or if there's people that are coming into town for the golf tournament, can pop by the Mo Club on Thursday and have a beer and catch up.
Yeah, one thing I'll just add to that, Coulter, is that so everyone knows,
Sure.
Obviously to be part of the GFPA members are former players, but we also have supporters of the GFPA. People want to help in any way and give. We got a golf tournament we're going to be putting on here in September 11th. And hopefully you'll have your show from there. We'll meet a bunch of former players back. It'll be great. And it's not just for the players. People forget a lot of the relationships you have with trainers. All the people that help us that, with Steve Hackney just passing away, and just all the people that worked. I mean, that's how my brother and sister-in-law met. She worked in the equipment room. And so it's just that's how those people don't think about a lot of that stuff off the field, that the relationships, the friendships, that's where you have this kind of a teaser for you. We have a really cool for the Hack Memorial we're going to have here this fall, and just getting people involved. And so as our website comes together here, there'll be ways for people to hop on and be part of the team. And just want to make sure everyone understands too, like, we can give to whatever we want to. We're not affiliated with anything. We're our own thing. We want to give. If we want to give to help players, maybe we've talked about doing something for graduating seniors. Maybe getting them their jersey and their helmet, just to reward them, and people, just different things that we can connect. Maybe a suit. Maybe there's different ways that we can help with nonprofits in town and partner together. But like Grizz Kids, and we will probably help some of the NIL, and we will help the other organizations, maybe the University of GSA if they have a need for a certain thing. But it's really off the field. How can we help current and former players in a time of need? Maybe some current player, their grandma's dying of cancer, and they need to get home, and maybe we can help them some way in that situation.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that I think this could certainly drive forward. Go ahead, Hobbs.
Coulter, I just talked to Ryan McKnight today. He is the president of the Jackrabbit Football Players Association, South Dakota State. Yep. And I was just picking his brain, and a great opportunity that we have that they do is they got a couple of their former players who have ranches to donate. I want to say 8 cows and 4 hogs.
It's a lot of beef
for spring ball, and then they bought him like 5 deep freezes that stays at the athletic department, and so the coaches got to use that however they see fit. Guys could walk by the freezer, grab a steak for dinner, and go home, and they were pretty stoked about that. So like those are some of the things that are outside of your traditional framework of supporting the university or athletic department, whatnot, that could be really cool. And again, we're in our infancy, and we're figuring this out and different ways that we can help. But that's just an example of something that could be really, really beneficial for the guys.
Well, while we got you here, we got to talk just for a minute about contemporary stuff that's going on. So I know Toon had lunch with BK last week, Bobby Kennedy, the new head coach for the Grizz. So we'll start with you, DJ. What's your impressions early on of the new head man for the Grizz football team?
He's really impressed me, and I know, Coulter, I'm a big recruiter. I mean, we probably are going to have some recruiting. Linda Weller, she's Jacobson. She's kind of in recruiting. So segment ours, we might bring a little recruiting segment. I'm big into recruiting. Nice. I love following all this. My buddies are coordinators and coach in a lot of the high schools around there, so they tell me, and they're just like, that we had no chance at a few of these kids. And what BK's coming in and doing relationship-wise, I think, of course, I think we were all concerned overnight when Bobby's gone. I mean, Bobby did a lot of good things. But we also know that, change is also good in some ways. And what BK's bringing, some of the personable coaching, he kept, I think, a good chunk of the staff. And I think this defensive staff, obviously, we heard Eastern Washington, we think Eastern Washington's defense. Well, once you really dive in and learn about some of their background, I think they can be okay. And anyone remembers when we played Eastern Washington last year towards the end of the game, their defense got better. They didn't have the athletes. And, my dad's Eastern Montana Wild Bill Coulter. He met with the D-line coach, came in, and just was impressed with his personality, the ability. So just hearing what I'm hearing from my coaching buddies and parents across the state of there's a lot more to recruiting, but just how he's seeing it from a different lens. I know he's really getting after the quarterback club to get a full-time nutritionist, and that's coming together. I hear great. I know there's gotten some recent donations for that. So you talk about BK's maybe going to see things from a different lens, and I think we needed that as a program. And I don't know about you guys, but I live out here in NDSU, SDSU land, and I'm sick and tired of, and the Cats winning it this year, that this is maybe rally the troops, and sometimes you get an eye opener that we need to change in certain areas to be better and where we need to be as a program, getting our focus back on our lines and getting where we need to be. I'm excited.
You listen to Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. A pair of former Grizz defensive tackles, Ty Hobbs and DJ Coulter, joining us. They are from the Grizz Football Players Association, and they got a new podcast. So we're going to be doing some promotion for some of their events coming up here, and this podcast should be a good one. So here is more just about what these guys got going on. What have you thought so far of all the fanfare around the new head coach, Ty?
Yeah, it's interesting being a fan now. It's hard to say whether this is a good move football wise, because I don't really know much football. My nose is on the football, and there was another 10 guys behind me. I got no idea what the hell they do. So, for this era of college football, though, it seems like a good move. It seems like a really good move, and DJ saying how he lives, outside of the region, and we have a lot of guys all over the country, and it'd be great just to have people connected and feel a part of it, and hopefully the whole Grizz Nation rallies around this team and around this coaching staff, and I'm excited to see what they can do. I'm really excited. I think BK is a refreshing new face for the community, and I think people are excited, and that's what you want. You want the fan base, you want the alumni, you want people that are on the East Coast, West Coast, North, South, or here locally to be fired up and supportive.
No doubt, man. I know you guys are tried and true Grizz, but my favorite Brent Vegan line is an engaged fan base is a rabid fan base. That's what Bobby Kennedy's doing, is getting everybody engaged. And that's going to make them even more rabid, because the Grizz have second to none when it comes to passion around their fan base. So we'll keep you informed of what's going on. These guys will be cutting some tracks themselves. We'll be collaborating with them as well. And get this on your podcast feed. We're having this as a standalone podcast, separate from the Big Sky Breakdown. But you can find it always, SkylineSportsMT.com. Also, Ty, website, tell people how they can go check this out if they are a former Grizz alum, or if they just sort of want to learn more about the GFPA.
Yeah, we're still building out our website, but there's we've got a place you can go in and register to be a member, or reach out to us and discuss more. But that website is grizzlyfpa.com.
Well, very good. And please come hang out with us on June 18th at the Mo Club. And you can meet these guys, hang out with them. And it's a perfect time, because I know a lot of you people are listening right now, maybe from out of town, outside of Missoula, but you're coming in for the Quarterback Club Scramble. So why not come down to the Mo Club in the afternoon? I'll be down there from probably about 4 o'clock until about 7 o'clock. But we'll be broadcasting live from my ESPN show between 4 and 6. And there'll be plenty of burgers, plenty of beers, and plenty of fun stories.
Speaking of the Mo Club, we will have a little Mo Club Museum, our latest segment here, coming up in just a little while. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. A couple more high school scores for you. State baseball tournament. Kalispell Glacier drilled Great Falls CMR 12-1. This is in Butte. Missoula Sentinel went to extras but outlasted Bozeman 5-4. Bozeman Gallatin was down 1-0 against host Butte, but now they're up 2-1. That game's ongoing. And then you got Billings West and Missoula Big Sky playing at 6:30. And tomorrow morning, there's going to be 7 games. They're condensing this thing. They don't want to mess with the weather on Saturday. So tomorrow, all the action is going to happen in Butte. You're going to have games starting at 8:30 in the morning. 8:30, 11, 1:30, 4 p.m., and then a 7 p.m. championship game. So that's a full slate. Class AB baseball tournament going on in Polson. And Columbia Falls off to a good start. They beat Columbus 4-1 in their opener. Polson was the state champions 2 years ago in the all-class baseball tournament. Dillon also had a good day. They beat Whitefish 5-3. So that's a final in the books, and I think those are the only two that have gone final so far. I think the third game is underway up there in Polson right now. So we'll keep you up to date on what's going on in the state tournaments around the state of Montana. Nuanez Now 102.9 ESPN Radio. We'll have some fun on the other side, remembering some history and also talking about some conference finals in the two pro sports that are raging on right now. That's next. Keep it right here, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Les Schwab changed the tire game more than 70 years ago. Today, we still believe you should get more from less. Like more hustle, less hassle. More of the best service around, less of the runaround. Because we include America's best tire warranty in every tire we sell. So you get more unbeatable warranty, less charging you extra. It's why we're more than proud to say, you get more from less.
What do you expect me to say to her? She's getting married in 30 minutes.
We're doing everything we can.
John?
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Welcome back. 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, and the only Bears that should be in your garbage. Keep those talking points coming in. What do you want us to talk about? What arguments do you have for us? What debates do you have for us? What questions do you have for us? 406-888-1029. And each and every text is going to get you entered in to win free beer. Who doesn't want free beer? Courtesy of DraftWorks Brewing in Missoula. Thirsty Thursday, every Thursday here on Nuanez Now. We got a $25 gift card for you to DraftWorks. Keep those texts coming in. 406-888-1029. We ran out of time yesterday, but I want to bring the man from behind the glass in here on the show. Usually Hayden Smith and Jeff Safford do a little standalone segment about hockey. Jeff's been been on the road. This guy's a road warrior. He'll have 12 baseball games from the road with the Paddleheads under his belt by the time we see him in real life person here next, which is an impressive start to the season for the Paddleheads. And the legend of minor league baseball is that you ride the bus, right? Well, these guys are actually literally riding the bus right now, and Jeff's on the bus. So he's enduring all the miles, but I know he's enjoying himself, and he loves the baseball. He's doing a great job calling the games. But I am nowhere near the hockey aficionado that Jeff and Hayden are. And, this time of year, it is a little bit, I don't know, frustrating is the wrong word, but you sort of have to pick and choose, right? Especially because of the infiltration of the way that some of these games are broadcast on streaming services, et cetera. So, back in the olden days when you just had cable, you could just put the NHL game on one channel and the NBA game on the other channel, just go previous channel when it's on. Even if you're leaning towards the NBA like I do, every time it's a commercial, you could just go previous channel and go watch the NHL game. Now, a lot of times these NBA games are on Amazon, so then you got to back out of the app, and by the time you get done changing to the other game, it's just not even really worth it. So you kind of got to pick and choose. So I've been watching the NBA. I know Hayden has been watching the NHL, excuse me, our Stanley Cup playoff coverage, probably presented by Sportsbet Montana. And here we are, sort of a similar situation as what the NBA's got going on. In the NBA, the New York Knicks swept the Cleveland Cavaliers, so they are just chilling, waiting for the result of the San Antonio-Oklahoma City series. San Antonio-Oklahoma City play a pivotal and potentially deciding Game 6 this evening. San Antonio's got to win. If they don't win, then it's over. If they do win, we're going back to Oklahoma City for Game 7, which we all love Game 7s, right? But in the NHL, Carolina took a 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference Finals with a 4-0 win over the Montreal Canadiens. On the other side, like I said, sort of a similar parallel. The Colorado Avalanche got swept. They got spanked by the Las Vegas Knights. So first of all, Hayden, you're not as sad as I thought you were going to be. You're a big Avs guy. But what the heck happened to the Avs? They were the hottest team in the NHL, and they were rolling through this playoffs. Then they sort of just hit a brick wall, and Vegas just sort of took them apart. What caused this? What was the demise of the Avs?
It's a great question. I know that injuries were a big part of that. Obviously, not having Cale Makar for the first couple games was huge. But, I think Jared Bednar said it best, man. The Avs ran into a buzzsaw. And Carter Hart, the goaltender for Vegas, is playing fantastic. The depth that made the Avalanche so good, especially those second and third lines, really got obliterated. And the top dogs in McKinnon, Nate, Makar, they had 0 goals. McKinnon was the leading goal scorer at 53 goals in the season, and he had 0 in 4 games. So definitely some poor performances from a team that really everyone thought was the deepest team in the league. But there's Vegas is tough, man. They won a Stanley Cup 2 years ago, so they're not far separated from winning it. So they're just a good team, and John Tortorella's got the guys going, and it's going to be interesting to see. I'm assuming the Canes will get through just to see what Vegas and the Canes are going to look like.
Well, throughout the history of expansion in pro sports, it's almost completely solidified that the new franchises take a long time to get going. That has not been the case for the Vegas Knights. They've only been around for 9 years. They've already won the West 3 times. They've already won a Stanley Cup, like you mentioned, just a couple of years ago. How has this happened? Why have they been able to get this thing off the ground in such short order and become so competitive right away?
Well, the expansion draft that they had was, really favorable. How many expansion drafts do you get? Marc-Andre Fleury, who, when he retired last year, is second all-time in wins for goaltenders.
He's one of the greatest goalies of all time.
A lot of guys that they just had depth right away. Jonathan Marchessault, he looked fantastic. William Karlsson, he was on those teams back in the day. They went to a Stanley Cup the first year they were a franchise. So.
Right.
They started off really, really strong, and they've just been able to sustain that for the last couple of years. Just credit to their GM. He's just been fantastic, and he's continued to put really strong rosters together that are truly just built for the playoffs.
Hayden Smith chiming in here on all things Stanley Cup playoffs. Probably presented by Sportsbet Montana. The next Stanley Cup game coming up tomorrow, Montreal in Carolina. Hurricanes have a chance to close it out, but if the Canadiens can extend the series, then you'll have potentially a Game 6 on Sunday, and if then Montreal can defend home ice. Then you'll have a Game 7 next Tuesday. So we're coming up on it. We're almost to the finals for both the NBA and the NHL. Our Pro Sports Conversation is always proudly presented by Sportsbet Montana. So tell me about that series, Hayden. I know Carolina had some real struggles. They've been good and gotten to this point, but they've had some real struggles in the conference finals, but they are in control of this series. How have they gotten there? What has helped them control the Canadiens so far?
I mean, they just have 4 really good lines, and the Canadiens are great. I will say they're the youngest team in the entire league. I think the average age is like 25, 26. And I just think historically in professional sports, teams that are the youngest in the league just aren't going to have that immediate playoff success. They won the first game in pretty shocking fashion, but I will say that the Canes did not play for 11 days, which was the longest break that a team has not played in the playoffs since 1919. And no team, after taking that long of a break, has ever won a playoff game. So I think that's an anomaly, truly. Since then, so I'm just going to break this down. Game 2, the Hurricanes outshot the Canadiens 38-12. And then they outshot them 38-13, and then they outshot them 42-18. So I mean, they're truly dominating the pace of play. The fact that the Canadiens went to 2 overtime games is pretty favorable in my opinion. I mean, they won Game 7 against the Lightning in the first round, and they got outshot like triple as well. So I just think a lot of the luck that they've had and really the goaltending in Jacob Dobas is just the wheels are starting to fall off. And they're a great young team, and they're going to have a lot of playoff success in the next couple of years. But Carolina's just built to win right now, and they've been on the precipice of it the last couple of years. So they're just a good, solid team backed by a really good coach in Rod Brindamore, and he's just got the guys going right now.
We've been talking a lot about the Knicks because I think it's such a cool story in the NBA and how New York is so associated with basketball. Like, if you were to say what's the biggest basketball city in America, I think it's like a 3-way battle between New York, Chicago, and Seattle. That's why it's so asinine that the Seattle Supersonics don't exist anymore. I mean, before Toronto became such a hotbed for NBA talent, the city in the world that had the most NBA players from it was Seattle, both currently and all time. That's wild then to think about all the great players that have come through Seattle, all the wonderful pageantry and obsession that people in the Pacific Northwest had for basketball and for the Sonics. So that they lose the Sonics was just unbelievable and such a tragedy for the entire region. That's all to say, the Knicks are so tied in with basketball. The NHL, I think, needs to have a windfall moment where a Canadian team wins a cup, because that is so directly branded with, I mean, hockey and Canada just go so hand in hand, and some of those franchises like the Canadiens, like the Maple Leafs, like the Oilers up in Edmonton, like the Calgary Flames, like they all have such passionate fan bases, and people would be totally crazy for this. But if the Canadiens can't get it done and Carolina moves on, you're going to have 2 warm weather markets, Vegas and Carolina, playing in the Stanley Cup Finals, and it'll be another year where there's no Canadian team playing for the Cup or winning the Cup. I think it's been since 1993 that a Canadian team has won a Stanley Cup. So, I mean, I know you are a hockey junkie, Hayden, so you don't really care like where the actual pro franchise is from, because you sort of understand where all the players are from. And even if they are playing in Carolina or Vegas, chances are they're from Canada, Minnesota, North Dakota, Russia, or Finland, right? Like they're from somewhere that's a hockey place. That said, do you think it is detrimental to the NHL to have warm weather teams potentially playing for the Cup?
It's a great question, and obviously we've seen that a lot with the Florida teams having tremendous success. And I will say about, like you said, 60% of every NHL roster is Canadian, so it's not like that the guys themselves haven't been getting it done. But I mean, what do you think would happen if the Knicks won, right? I mean, it would be pandemonious. I mean, people would be going ballistic, and it would be the same way for the Habs. I mean, they have 24 Stanley Cups in their history. I mean, this is a very storied franchise that, you know, has had a lot of success, and, you know, they were actually in the Cup final, I think, in 21, so they've been there not too long ago, and that was the COVID year. It was kind of a weird deal, but I mean, it would be humongous. I mean, you know, everyone's hoping that McDavid finally gets his cup, right? I mean, if Edmonton won, that would be fantastic. But yeah, it's just a lot of the Canadians, man, don't want to play in those markets.
Sure.
So
why? Just because too much pressure or what?
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit of pressure, and it's also just the taxes are way higher there. So
Sure,
I think a lot of the players, I mean, you're making more money in Florida. The weather's obviously fantastic. The teams are competitive. I just think that a lot of it's on the Canadian players for not wanting to play in those markets as well. This is not just like some weird deal where the U.S. Have better GMs or anything like that. It's a lot of it is on the players.
And there's also just market size and stuff like that too, right? I mean, like Edmonton and Calgary are just like small cities compared to, New York or Vegas or, Chicago or Minneapolis or any of those really. So that probably plays into it as well. Do you think that Carolina will get it done and move on to the Stanley Cup Finals?
Yeah, I mean, they're up 3-1. They're going to go back to Carolina for two out of the next 3 games, and they've been absolutely dominating. So, I mean, I would be pretty hard-pressed to imagine that a team that young is able to come back from a 3-1 deficit. But, I mean, you never know. You've seen crazier stuff. But, no, I mean, this Canes team is built. I mean, it was just a matter of time for them. They couldn't continue to just have these crazy Eastern Conference final losses. The last 4 times that they've played in it, they've been 1-16, which is a pretty astonishing number for a team that's pretty easily made it the whole way. And the Canes are 10-1. They've only lost 1 time in the playoffs this entire year. So
crazy.
I mean, it's not like they haven't been full go. And like I said, the one time they lost, they hadn't played in 11 days. So I'm really not going to knock them too hard for that. But as long as the goaltending continues to play well and the guys stay healthy, I don't see why the Canes can't get this one done and go to the Stanley Cup final.
Hayden Smith chiming in here on Nuanez Now. Keep those texts coming in if you want some free draft work. 406-888-1029. What do you want us to talk about? 888-1029. Our NHL conversations, as always, probably presented by Sportsbet Montana. Get the Sportsbet Montana app in your life. It's an easy way to put your parlays together, check the odds, do the teasers. You can make a QR code, then you walk right up to the kiosk, boom, you scan it. There's your bet. You're off to the races. Appreciate Sportsbet Montana for their continued support of us talking pro sports here on Nuanez Now. Hour 1 of the books, hour 2 coming at you. One of your favorites, Ryan Tutel, back for another week. Excited to hang out with him. We're going to talk NFL and Cats and Grizz football. We're also going to continue to give you updates from around the wide world of the state championships that are going on the diamond, on the track, and wherever else we might be able to fill in. That's all next. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. Hour 2 coming your way. It's Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio.
Life can change in an instant. If you've been hurt in an accident, suffered from medical negligence, or are facing criminal charges, you don't have to face it alone. At Ryan Miller & Coburn, we're here to listen and fight for you. We're your neighbors, traveling across Montana to stand by your side as your link to justice. Real people, real help, right here in Montana. Ryan Miller & Coburn, your Montana attorneys.
DeMorris Buick GMC is ready to help you safely travel Montana's scenic roads in comfort and style. Stop by DeMorris today and test drive some outstanding SUVs. Right now, take advantage of closeout pricing on the exceptionally designed 2024 Buick Envision with models starting at $39,795. Don't miss this opportunity. Go to DeMorris.com to preview our inventory of 2024 Buick Envisions and then pay a visit to DeMorris Buick GMC on West Broadway in Missoula, your family-owned hometown dealership for over 60 years.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
Life's about the journey, not the destination, right? Why can't it be about both?
ESPN Radio for Western Montana, KKVU HD3 Stevensville, and 102.9 FM on K275BS Missoula. ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Track and field athletes from Montana performed well at conference championships across the country over the last couple weeks, setting PRs and scoring points for their collegiate teams. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Colorado State senior Claire Kovach, who's a Sealy Swan product, won her second straight outdoor women's discus championship in the Mountain West to lead a sweep of the Rams through the top three spots. Kovach threw 191 feet 7 inches on her fifth attempt to win gold. In the women's triple jump at the Mountain West meet, San Jose State grad transfer Audrey McElmurray, who hails from Missoula Sentinel, placed second with a jump of 42 feet 3.5 inches. Fellow Missoulian Alex Mund, who's a sophomore at Boise State and went to Hellgate, was 16th in the event. Northern Arizona junior Haley Burns, a Bozeman High grad, won twice at the Big Sky Outdoor Championships to keep a 6-year run by the Lumberjacks going. She stood atop the podium in the 800 meters and the 1500 meters. Portland State's Emma Stolte, who comes from Townsend, finished second in the 1500 meters behind Burns before winning the 5000 meters, becoming the first Viking to ever win the event. Elon's Hannah Shonoff, who also hails from Bozeman, placed second in the women's high jump at the CAA Conference Championships. She jumped 5'9 1/4, a new personal best. And finally, Boise State freshman Aiden Simmons of Helena continued his stellar breakout season with a second straight runner-up finish in the men's triple jump with a personal best of 50 feet 4.5 inches.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club.
1, 2, 3.
Nuanez Now on ESPN Radio.
I can safely say this is the first time we played Jimmy Buffett on the show. There's just so much good music out there. I love Jimmy Buffett. Did you know that Cheeseburger in Paradise is actually about Montana? The Cheeseburger in Paradise is actually the cheeseburger that they serve at the Pop Stand, which is a little burger joint that used to exist in Livingston, Montana, right there in the Paradise Valley. Cheeseburger in Paradise. Get it? Did you know that Jimmy Buffett's sister lives in Livingston? That's why he used to go to the Pop Stand. I'm full of all sorts of pointless facts. Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Colter Nuanez coming to you through the Grizzly Disposal Studio here at the Missoula Broadcasting Company. Grizzly Disposal has construction roll-off boxes for your construction project. Don't wait days or even weeks. You can get them within 24 hours. Grizzly Disposal has them in stock. They can get them to you fast. Visit GrizzlyDisposal.com or call 406-541-7171. Grizzly Disposal, locally owned, veteran-owned, the only bears that should be in your garbage. Missing the first hour of the show, you can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast. We heard from Ty Hobbs and DJ Coulter from the Grizz Football Players Association. Gave you some updates when it came to state track and field, softball, baseball, and tennis. And talk some hockey with our man Hayden Smith as well. All of it on the Nuanez Now podcast, which is available on all your various podcast hosting platforms. Lightning delayed out the AA meet because, of course, there is. It's spring sports finale. That's how it always works. So for baseball and AA in Butte, they eliminated Saturday. They're going to play the entire tournament today and tomorrow for AA baseball. You had delays for softball earlier today in a couple different places. And in AA and B track and field in Missoula, Lightning, they got the pole vault started for Class B, then Lightning came, and now it's on delay. So weather is screwing up everything. Welcome to Montana. So we'll have more stuff for you as it comes, but we're sort of here sitting in a standstill. So that's the story for state tournament stuff right now. Let's hear from one of our favorites.
Brian Tutel here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. Let's talk some football. So first of all, you're sort of like off the social meds. You're not really on the Twitter machine much anymore.
Not much. Not at all. Zero. Yeah.
Hey, great. Good for you. Proud of you. so you probably haven't seen a lot of stuff that's going around. Did you by chance see the picture of Aaron Rodgers and his alleged wife?
I have not.
Okay. Well,
I've heard that there is an alleged wife, that there was a marriage in like Europe or something like that.
Yeah, he showed up to training camp last year wearing a ring, and one of the reporters asked him about it, and he said, yeah, I got married, and he like kind of left it at that. And the tabloids went hunting, and they found out that he was married to a woman named Brittany, and that's all we ever got. But then there was a picture that went around of her last.
So is Patrick Mahomes.
Indeed. But there's a picture that went around of Aaron Rodgers and his significant other. Carol is just dying to know if it's real or not. So, Chicken Does Know Sports is on the case. We'll see if she can check it.
There's got to be a Freedom of Information Act request that we can get. Maybe that's why they got married in Europe. Maybe it's maybe Kosovo does not have that same type of access to information, so they could keep that under wraps.
Smart or dumb, the Pittsburgh Steelers bringing Aaron Rodgers back for yet another season.
For this season, if we isolate it to just this year, it's smart. I mean, he is going to be the best quarterback option that they have. And also he's already stated this is it, right? He got asked if this is the last season for him, and he said that it is. So I think that I don't know. I just think that sort of, if everybody's on the same page there and there's not this, well, where are we at? Are we stuck with him? Are we moving on? Are we doing what we're doing? What if we bring in another quarterback? What happens? So I think in that sense, it's good for the Steelers. However, next year's quarterback class, which they're in desperate need of, is loaded. But they're good enough that they aren't going to be, they could be a middle first round type of pick, and maybe 20th. I don't know. Is that, that they could end up. Whereas if they just went with whoever else they got on the roster, they could be a top 10 type of team to pick that would have an unbelievable landing spot for their next quarterback with a great defense and some really good, offensive weapons and that kind of thing. But when you talk about, just this season and going out and doing it, I do think Aaron Rodgers is sort of the best option that they've got. I know that there's a bunch of stuff about he had the least yardage through the air, like throwing the ball down the field. There was so much check down stuff, not extending plays, all of that kind of thing. That's all well and good, but he's still got an absolute cannon, and he's a savant. He puts the ball wherever he wants to, and he's not by any stretch the best quarterback around or a top 10 guy or anything like that, but he's a very serviceable quarterback and by far the best option Pittsburgh has at this very moment in time.
You made a comment though. You said they're good enough to be good. I've always, not always, lately I've thought, what if the Steelers just aren't that good, but they're just living off of being the Steelers and everybody's sort of just assuming that they're going to be good? I mean, I'm looking at the last 5 seasons, 10-7, 10-7, 9-8, 9-8, 9-7-1, 9-8, 8-8, 9-6-1. The last time they had a double-digit win, like a real great season, was 2017 when they went 13-3, but then they lost in the divisional round of the playoffs to the Jacksonville Jaguars. What makes you think Pittsburgh is? I mean, when I look at their roster, Aaron Rodgers at running back, Jalen Warren and Rico Dowdle at running back. Aaron Rodgers at quarterback. DK Metcalf, Michael Pittman at receiver, Pat Freiermuth at tight end. Defensively, they still have Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, Patrick Queen, Joey Porter Jr., Jalen Ramsey. But, half those guys that I just named are long in the tooth. What if they just actually aren't good?
This is not a team that's going to be picking in the top 6 or 7 picks. It's just not going to happen. They're not in a great division, right? And
I don't know. They're in a division that's in massive flux, that's for sure.
Who's the team that everybody's picking out of the AFC North right now?
The Bengals, probably.
Yes. The Cincinnati Bengals are the team. Yeah. Let me tell you something. It ain't a great division.
It's really interesting because I think that, T-minus 3 years ago, we would have said that was one of, if not the best divisions in the NFL.
Totally. And it's not that a lot of it is the unknown. What is Baltimore going to be? I think everything, and this weird thing where Cleveland still has a ton of talent running around. They just are never going to figure it out. It's just insane. So it is completely possible.
The coach of the year and made the playoffs with Joe Flacco as their quarterback, and they fired that guy like 18 months later. So
and then shipped Joe Flacco out
because Sugar Sanders and Dylan Gabriel is a great option.
Yeah, and Deshaun Watson. Let's not forget.
Just keep paying him $50 million to do nothing.
Well, the check's already written.
They already paid $230 million to get zero out of it.
That's right. So it's completely possible that the Steelers finish 4th out of 4. It's completely possible that they win the division.
Yeah, wow, that's actually
and
really
so
interesting to think about.
they have a wide range of outcomes, man. But they're not going to be truly bad because their defense is legit, and they have good, competent players offensively. So I think at best they're a 10-win team, and I think at worst they're a 10-loss team. And where does that leave you? Somewhere in the middle of the first round. They probably pick somewhere between 10 and 20.
It's really interesting that there's 3 new coaches in that division. I'm just thinking of there's always futures bets to try to handicap the division, like pick a division 1st through 4th. And I did this with the NFC North last year and I hit it. There's no way you could pick that division. The odds to pick that division correctly were 10,000 to 1, I bet.
Well, they're not. There's only 4 teams. It's not going to be 10,000 to 1. But yes, your point is that
there's
they're
so many different combinations of 1 through 4 that you could pick, right?
Yes, 16.
Nuanez Now tonight, ESPN Radio, SWX, Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. I haven't taken math since I was 15 years old. I have no idea.
Yeah, that might not actually be right.
We'll trust the philosophy guy.
Yeah, that's right.
Do you have any other thoughts on the NFL before we talk college football? I mean, the Josh Jacobs story from earlier this week is just ugly, and I don't really know what else to say besides it's just ugly.
It is very ugly. It also is when you get arrested for anything, the operation. And this is just a best practices of any police department is you create a charge for every possible thing that it could be, and you kind of cover yourself
correct
on all the stuff, even when it's very obvious that it ain't that. When you see stuff like strangulation, that is a shocking thing to read, and yet it is. These are the sorts of things where I'm I want to know what's real here, because what's in a police report is just that, and that is an official document. But what actually turns out to be is a whole different thing, or can be, I should say. If these charges are legitimate and real, and that. Some version of that is what in fact happened. Josh Jacobs can't play. I mean, you go into jail. That's awful, horrific.
I mean, if you're convicted of a felony, you're going to jail for sure.
Of course. There's also, let's put it like this. The variety of things that could have in fact happened that would have expressed these charges are very wide. And so until we know more, it's impossible to, and you should not express any sort of, final judgment or anything like that. But it's not a good situation, obviously. And, that has to be handled in the judicial system.
I was scanning my previous texts because I actually have a text. I had a very in-depth text conversation about partner family member assault and strangulation charges when it comes to certain states' bylaws, but I could not find that, so I'm not going to directly quote it because I can't remember. But a defense lawyer who's a friend of mine and also a loyal listener of all of our content, he sort of explained this to me once, but I'm not going to.
It's not one we want to go out and get wrong.
Nuanez Now tonight, ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. All right, so I have we're going to get into the college football narratives progressively more and more as the season gets closer.
Yeah.
We're actually inside 100 days before the college football season opens, which is kind of crazy
Amazing.
to think about. I love college football. I love the fall, but I absolutely hate wishing time away, and I want to enjoy the next 90 days of summer for sure. But we need something to talk about. So I was thinking about the various non-conference games that various teams around the Big Sky Conference, specifically in the state of Montana, are playing. Relatively lackluster non-conference schedules for both Montana and Montana State outside of the FBS games that each team plays. Montana plays at Oregon State in week 4, which is a very interesting timing for an FBS game. Because a lot of times it's week 1 or 2, so you kind of you don't really know what you got. The Grizz are going to get to play 3 games where they're going to be heavily favored at home under a new coaching staff, and presumably is going to have a lot of momentum going into Corvallis. I mean, a lot more momentum than you'd have if you get smacked by an FBS in week 1 or 2. Yeah, because they're almost certainly, I think, is going to beat Southern Utah, Utah Tech, and Drake in Missoula. So they get a chance to actually carry some momentum into Corvallis. Obviously, Oregon State has been in a massive state of flux over the last several years with the dissolving of the Pac-12 and then the rebuilding of it and whatever that might hold. Plus, Jonathan Smith going to Michigan State, and there's been a lot of turmoil there for Oregon State football. Then on the other side of the Continental Divide, Montana State plays at Nevada, and this game is just rich with intrigue because who's the head coach in Nevada? Jeff Choate, the man that a lot of people credit for sort of laying the foundation of the house that then Brent Vegan has built into, a mansion there in Bozeman. And that game has a ton of rich intrigue, not only just because it's a Mountain West opponent that's paying you some bucks, but Montana State's going to be favored in that game as the defending national champions. And I think that game opens up at Cats minus 7.5, Cats minus 9.5. I don't know. I think the Cats are a touchdown or more favorite going down to Reno. And then there's also the intrigue of if and when Jeff Choate's going to get it rolling, and how much would a loss to his previous employer impact his employment status? I don't know. So my question for you, I guess, is, first of all, which of the two Montana teams do you think has more pressure or more to lose going into their respective FBS games in September?
Yeah. I think this is a great question. I mean, I love this. The word you use multiple times, which is absolutely the word for the Cats going to Reno, is intrigue. If you want the game that's the most intriguing by a million miles, it's Montana State at Nevada.
For sure.
With Jeff Choate being the head coach. And to your point, with Montana State almost certainly being favored. I will say I am completely ignorant on what Jeff Choate's build is coming into this season. And as we saw in Bozeman, he has a real propensity for this, right? He's good at doing this, of taking a football team that's struggling and getting them there. That said, at their respective levels, the ability to do it at Montana State is far more to work with than what you have at Nevada Reno to build a football team. Okay. So even if you're good at it, you still need the wood to build the house, man. And if all you've got is cardboard, it's a problem. So I don't know what the Wolfpack is going to look like, but believe me, I'll watch every second of that football game with tremendous curiosity and interest, as I think that anybody following Montana State will. And I will be so interested to hear, and hopefully we'll be able to talk to him about Jeff Choate's feelings about facing this football team in that setting. I mean,
I'm so intrigued to see how he handles that week, because as we know, Jeff Choate has never met a microphone he doesn't love. He's as good of a preacher of his vision of anybody I've ever been around, and he's utterly compelling to listen to talk, and he'll sell you everything. I mean, he'll sell everybody that listens to him talk on his vision for what he wants it to be. I'm just so interested because he himself is going to get so many interview requests that week. So does he want to does he pare it down and make it just be
put it in now, baby? Let's talk about it in June.
Exactly, but is he gonna cater to all that, or is he not? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know how he's going to handle that.
Well, I have no idea what Jeff Choate's feelings are. I would imagine that the emotions will be high.
Yes.
But if it was me, if I was Jeff Choate looking at this football game, I would be terrified.
Oh,
I mean,
I'm shocked they didn't buy it out. I'm shocked he didn't go to the AD and said, whatever it costs, get that game off my schedule. Why
get
are we
it out of
doing
here.
that? Why are we playing that? It's like the Bobby Houck line from a couple years ago when they brought in Ferris State, who had won when the Grizz brought in Ferris State, they'd won 4 out of 5 Division II national championships. And Houck said after the Grizz squeaked out a 17-10 win, he said, I told Ken Haslam that I was totally cool with playing a D2. I didn't want to play the D2.
Right.
I didn't want to play the best team in the country at that level.
Well, and I think that it's such a difficult tightrope to walk for him when he's talking to his team, because the players he have no idea how good Montana State is. And he has every idea how good Montana State is.
Right.
And so how do you instill confidence to your players, but yet force them to take this seriously, and also don't tell them what is the truth? They're better than us. So you have to prepare for this game like this is like your season's on the line right here,
for sure,
or else you don't have a chance to win it. And they're going to be like, okay, I get it. You coach there. You have an affinity for them. Fine. But they're not coming here to be, we're not going to lose to Montana State or whatever. And that's when you just get humiliated. So I think, and if anybody can strike the right chord there, it would be Jeff Choate, right? Sure. To be able to do that. But that game is tremendously intriguing.
For those that are wondering, by the way, in terms of Nevada, because as Ryan mentioned, there's just not a lot out there about them, but they're coming off a 3-9 season that
not good.
Included just 2 wins in the Mountain West. Chubba Purdy is back. He is Brock Purdy's younger brother as their quarterback, but he was sort of in and out of the lineup as a quarterback, which was something that would resonate with Bobcat people, with Jeff Choate, sort of going back and forth. Also, as would be a trend from his Montana State days, Nevada's quarterbacks last year threw 10 touchdowns and 17 interceptions and only threw for 140 yards a game. So the deficiencies under center, which was the one weakness of the Bobcats by the time Jeff Choate got it all built back up, seemed to be a trend again in Reno.
So, again, that game is the game. That might be the game of the year on the schedule prior to the rivalry game. That will be the one that I would be most personally interested in for Montana State, just because of all the storylines that are there. Which game is bigger, though? I will say it's the Grizzlies going to Oregon State. Oregon State now is a member of the new Pac-12, if I'm not mistaken, which is effectively the Mountain West minus a couple old teams, plus Washington State and Oregon State.
Random Texas teams.
Yeah. So it ain't the Pac-12, but they had already made the logo, so they're using it. At least the Beavers and the Cougars have a conference to play in, though, and they're an even bigger mystery than Nevada in terms of what they're going to be as a football team. The Grizzlies are also a pretty big mystery as a result of the happenings this offseason. I would say that for any coach, this sets up really, really well when you have 3 home games that you're going to be definitively favored in if you're the Montana Grizzlies, and then you get to go on the road, get paid in a money game against a team that, if you lose, is by no means the end of the world, but is potentially a winnable game. I mean, it's hard to say that. They're not going to be favored. The Grizzlies are. And we have no idea really what Oregon State's going to roll out there. And Oregon State has a prouder football history than what I think a lot of people outside of Corvallis recognize. I mean, that has been a really good football school at times over the course of relatively recent history over the last, 10, 15 years. But right now, 2026, it's a total coin flip. And that is what makes that game a big game. And I also think it's going to be the first big-ish environment. Washington Grizzlies is a big environment. But again, when it's Drake halftime we could get 8,000 people left in there because you assume that it's a game that's been handled. I think it's a big game for Montana, and I think to have 3 home games and then go on the road and play, it sets up really well for a brand new head coach to get his feet under him and get the team together going into Corvallis to play Oregon State. So I'm excited about that game too. I think it's going to be very interesting.
It's also
we're going to have
it's a huge launching point potentially for Montana, right? You go in there, you go in there and you play well, even if you lose and you're competitive, something to build off of. You go in there and give them a scare, really something to build off of. You go in there and win, it completely alters the arc of your season because now you can get into October and then you have 3 more winnable games, and all of a sudden you can be 7-0 before you're going into the stretch where then you have UC Davis and Bobcats and some of the other powers that be in the FCS.
I do think, though, the one thing about, let's put it like this, more or less, we know everything we need to know right now about the Montana State-Nevada matchup to make it amazing. We need to find out so much more about the Grizzlies that we won't learn until the first 3 weeks of the season. Okay, we want to assume that these are wins at home against the Utah States or the Southern Utahs and the Drakes of the world, and likely they will be. But how you do it matters, and I do think there is going to be building pressure on Coach Kennedy to, he's, I think, created a lot of goodwill with Grizz fans, but then that has to then express itself on the field in a meaningful way, or else it evaporates real fast.
Yep.
And squeaking out, one score victories against lesser opponents at home is not the way you want to start your season, even if it's a win.
Yes.
And I think there's going to be some slack week 1. Get your feet under you. I always have said week 1 in college football is the biggest crapshoot in sports. There's no preseason. Nobody's played a game. You got turnover left and right, new coaches, new play, everything. God only knows what's going to happen. I watched a Montana State football team with Troy Anderson playing quarterback show up to the Gold Rush game at night and have the single worst half of collegiate football I've ever witnessed in my life. And then they went on to a semifinal or something like that. It's a mystery what's going to be out there. And it could be a train wreck.
It could.
Initially. And I think that people will make apologies for that at first. But if it continues in a 3-week stretch where it's bad football on the front end of this season for Montana at home, I think there's going to be a lot of hand-wringing and angst out of the Grizz fan base. Then you go to Oregon State and get whooped. Then where are you at? Where's the confidence of the team? Where's the belief of the fan base? What's the level of acceptance or whatever for Coach Kennedy at that point a month in. So I think this is a huge game that's a culmination of the first month of the first tenure of Bobby Kennedy. And that's why I think that Oregon State game is massive.
Ryan Tutel here on Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio. There's also a little bit of, I don't know if it's destiny or serendipity or just nostalgia or what, but the last time the Grizz played Oregon State, Brian Ayat was the quarterback for Montana, and they buried him. They killed him, 35-7, 1996. And that Grizz team went undefeated all the way until the national championship game, and it's probably the greatest Grizz team that didn't win a national championship, because they didn't win a national championship because they played Randy Moss and the Marshall Thundering Herd, and that was a little bit of a mismatch, to say the least, when you got the greatest receiver of the modern era going against guys from Missoula and Libby. Not that fair of a fight. But anyways, I don't know if that – I don't think it plays, but it'll certainly be a storyline that week with Kaylee Ayat as the quarterback for Montana, sort of this golden opportunity. Obviously, that Grizz team was the parallel is very much like Nevada and Montana State, right? Because that Grizz team was the 1995 national champions and then returned a whole bunch of guys that was expected to roll again, and Oregon State didn't buy the game out foolishly, and then they got pounded. That's sort of going to be the narrative going into the Montana State-Nevada game, whereas then this Montana-Oregon State game, it is, though, rich with a lot of intrigue because I don't know what Oregon State's going to have. I watched Oregon State live in 23 when the Cats were very good, and they had Sean Chambers and Tommy Mellott as a dual threat quarterback deal. And I mean, that Cat team sort of unraveled by the end of the year because of a lot of different things that ailed them: injuries, kicking woes, unrest on the coaching staff, all those factors. But they got their asses kicked by Oregon. I mean, Oregon State dropped 68 on them. That was pretty stunning to watch. And that was the height of Jonathan Smith. And that team won 9 games and went to a bowl.
And they were still, the Pac-12 still believed it was going to be around in 2 years. I mean, that was a high major conference playing high major football.
It's
Nonetheless,
time, yeah.
Getting 68 hung on you is not.
I'm just so interested to see how close Oregon State is to that still or not. They could be completely far away from that. They could be looking like just a middle of the road Mountain West team. And if that's the case, they'll be pretty not evenly matched, but it won't be that big of a mismatch with the Grizz.
And that's what I expect Oregon State to be. I expect Oregon State this year to look like a middle of the road Mountain West team.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to be a 500 team in what is the Mountain West that's simply called the Pac-12.
Yes.
And is that good enough to win at home against the Grizzlies? You'd think they'd be favored.
Yeah.
But by no means is this a game that Montana shouldn't be able to win.
Well, especially with a first-year head coach, too, who's a first-time head coach at Oregon State, too. Think about this game if Brent Vigen would have taken that job. That would be pretty interesting.
It would be. But also, I do think it's a game that if you go in and lose by 40, it's a bad look, man.
Yes.
And again, that the result of that game and the narrative coming out of it is going to be, and I would say rightfully, impacted by the 3 games previous and the belief about what this team is looking like.
Yes.
And was it just awesome, and then ran into a really good Oregon State team?
Right.
Was it terrible but improving and starting to kind of figure it out and still got 3 wins? Or is there a loss already on the schedule? Are they showing up there with an L from a team that they should have beat and then get pounded? That's a kind of a worst case scenario. But I do think, again, that the result of the Oregon State game is not going to be a standalone situation. You're not going to look at that in isolation and have a view. It is going to be the story of the first month of non-conference football with the first month of Bobby Kennedy running the show.
Right. Tutel here on Nuanez Now May ESPN Radio. Okay, last point on the Nevada-Montana State game.
Yeah. Because
Montana State is going to be favored and they're going to hear that they're favored I mean, all the national pundits, Sam Herder, Craig Haley, all these guys, they're doing their schedule breakdown stuff right now because it's the dry season, so we need some content. But every pundit that has a national platform says the number one candidate for an FCS over an FBS upset is Montana State over Nevada. Does that play into the amount of pressure that Montana State has coming into that game? Could that get in their way, the fact that the world thinks they're going to go in there and roll?
I mean, that would be the microcosm of the only question that they need to answer the whole season is that are they because they're the overwhelming favorites to win the national championship? Does that impact the way they go? The thing is, though, and even though the environment at Reno is going to be such a letdown compared to playing at Bozeman.
Yes.
I mean, it's just.
I mean, that's the thing is the Grizz are going to go to Corvallis, and there will be a lot of. I mean, Oregon State draws well, and they have a sweet stadium and stuff like that. Or when the Cats have played at Washington State over the years, or it doesn't matter if the Cougs are bad, they still draw 25,000 fans, and people are there tailgating. There might be 8,000 people in Reno.
That said,
because it's actually sad.
I do think there is just a built-in axe grinding incentive every time an FCS team plays an FBS team.
Sure.
Period. And it is I should be here. I'm going to prove that I should be here. That you're stepping up in just level, broadly speaking, even if it's a team that's not as good as you. And so I don't think that then lends itself to Montana State being so cocky and sure of themselves that they lose sight of the goal here. And especially when it is a Jeff Choate coached team. Obviously, nobody on the team now for the Cats was, coached by Jeff Choate, but they know the lineage and history of him very recently. And there's a very real line that goes from him and what he built at Montana State to the success that they're now having and continuing under Coach Vigen. And so I think that's meaningful, and that will be taken seriously. And I think they'll take Nevada seriously as a result. And that's probably bad news for Nevada. The thing that I'd do too, if I was Coach Vigen, is I'd kind of highlight all the dudes in the NFL that played at Nevada, because it is easy to overlook them. But Romeo Dobbs is like a second-round draft pick.
Nevada's had a ton of dudes,
and they've got.
The thing is, Nevada has a proud history. I mean, Chris Alt is one of the winningest coaches in the history of college football.
Right.
They just haven't been able to find an identity since he retired. Because when a guy has a job for 40 years, it's kind of hard to move on from that guy.
If you're concerned about the seriousness that your team is taking another opponent, especially in a situation like that, show them some contracts. Right. Show them 4 years, $53 million that's being paid to this dude who played at that stadium, know, and you should be ready to go. But I don't think that Montana State is going to come in flat or overly confident and thus play poorly in that game. I really don't.
Correction to me, and having glee in the lack of fans that Nevada draws, that was a misstatement by me to say that there was only going to be 8,000 fans there. When Nevada squeaked out a 2017 win over Sacramento State last year, there was 20,500 fans in the stands. They had, just for their home games, 17,000, 17,200, 19,000, 18,000, 18,000, 20,000. Their lowest of the year was 14,491. So that's a fine crowd.
The numbers are totally comparable, but the environment is not. That's the point. The most people I ever played in front of was a couple of thousand. Was the greatest draw to a lacrosse game you ever saw, but it was in Seahawk Stadium. It felt like I was playing in a library, and it was sort of embarrassing because it's actually completely empty. Right. And so I don't know how many people the stadium holds, but it's going to be half, 2/3 full. So it's not nothing. It's a real program, man. It's a legitimate FBS college football program. There's money, there's boosters, there's gambling, there's everything, man, in Reno, Nevada. So it shouldn't be dismissed, but it's still not going to be. If you're going in going like, whoa, we got a big FBS like football game, and you walk in there and it doesn't feel like that, there can be a little air let out of the balloon. That's all I'm saying.
Mackey Stadium has held as many as 31,000, but the new renovation has it right at 27,000. So it's about comparable to Washington.
Okay, so it's not even that. It's not even that big. So, and that's good. That actually makes it better.
20,000 and 27,000 stadium
totally
is good, yeah.
As opposed to 45 or whatever, yeah.
Yeah, the last point I'll make on this is it's very interesting to me that I actually think that the task of each coach is the same. Jeff Choate convincing his Nevada Wolfpack that Montana State is the real deal. And also Brent Vigen convincing his Montana State Bobcats that Nevada is the real deal.
Yes, that is a great point.
Well, tonight ESPN Radio will keep on giving you coverage of what's going on around the state tournaments around the state of Montana. We got updated scores from softball, from baseball, from track and field, and from tennis. That's on the other side. Don't change that dial. Keep it right here. 129 ESPN Missoula.
Around here, we see a lot of people head out. No matter where they're going, we just make sure they're ready. Before you hit the road, get a pre-trip safety check at Les Schwab Tires. It's free. Plus, this May, save up to $200 on select sets of 4 tires.
If we can't guarantee it, we won't sell it.
At Shields, we're anglers, endlessly seeking and refining techniques. We're hunters and storytellers, because we've been out there. We're experts that put products and gear to the test, so we can share that knowledge with you. At Shields, we understand your outdoor journey and the path you're on, because we walk it too, every step of the way. Shields, right there with you.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
The rare moments in life, they're not just few and far between. They're meant to be treasured.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair, restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair, restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
ESPN Missoula Sports Center.
Track and field athletes from Montana performed well at conference championships across the country over the last couple weeks, setting PRs and scoring points for their collegiate teams. Hello, I am Colter Nuanez. Colorado State senior Claire Kovach, who's a Sealy Swan product, won her second straight outdoor women's discus championship in the Mountain West to lead a sweep of the Rams through the top three spots. Kovach threw 191 feet 7 inches on her fifth attempt to win gold. In the women's triple jump at the Mountain West meet, San Jose State grad transfer Audrey McElmurray, who hails from Missoula Sentinel, placed second with a jump of 42 feet 3.5 inches. Fellow Missoulian Alex Mund, who's a sophomore at Boise State and went to Hellgate, was 16th in the event. Northern Arizona junior Haley Burns, a Bozeman High grad, won twice at the Big Sky Outdoor Championships to keep a 6-year run by the Lumberjacks going. She stood atop the podium in the 800 meters and the 1500 meters. Portland State's Emma Stolte, who comes from Townsend, finished second in the 1500 meters behind Burns before winning the 5000 meters, becoming the first Viking to ever win the event. Elon's Hannah Shonoff, who also hails from Bozeman, placed second in the women's high jump at the CAA Conference Championships. She jumped 5'9 1/4, a new personal best. And finally, Boise State freshman Aiden Simmons of Helena continued his stellar breakout season with a second straight runner-up finish in the men's triple jump with a personal best of 50 feet 4.5 inches.
This ESPN Missoula Sports Center is presented by Canyon River Golf Club. It's Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Missoula. Watch the show statewide on SWX Montana Television.
It was a great start for host Butte High at the Class AA state tournament. They hit a leadoff home run to go up 1-0 over top seeded Bozeman Gallatin. Well, we're still in the middle of the second inning. And Gallatin's now up 11-1. They're pouring it on. Undefeated Raptors are. So lasted for a second for the host Bulldogs, but that's why Gallatin's one of the favorites, probably the favorite of the first ever Class AA baseball tournament played out in Butte, Montana. Nuanez Now 129 ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. If you haven't heard, the baseball tournament got condensed. They started playing games at 10 a.m. today. They're going to play 4 games today, and then they're going to play 7 games tomorrow with a state championship tomorrow evening. So no Saturday action. They're trying to avoid the weather. So that's one of the news briefs out of the state baseball tournament. In Class A, B, that's the other state baseball tournament. Columbia Falls got a 4-1 win over Columbus. Dillon got a 5-3 win over Whitefish. And those are the only 2 that are final as of right now. By the way, Sentinel did win in extra innings in walk-off fashion against Bozeman High as well. So well underway there at Legend Stadium in Butte. For state softball, Great Falls CMR upset one of the favorites, Kalispell Glacier, in the first round, 5-2. Belgrade gets a win over Big Sky, 6-3. Billings West and Butte, Sentinel and Billings Senior are both playing right now. Glacier and Big Sky play tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. in a loser-out game. The AA and B track meets are going on in Missoula right now, but that's they got started with the pole vault, and then it got delayed. So that's where we're at there. When it comes to AA tennis, Elliot Basinger, who's going for her 4th straight state title, she had a straight sets win to advance for Missoula Hellgate. And Mason McCarthy, who's going for his 4th straight title for Bozeman Gallatin, he also had a straight sets victory to advance to the semifinals as well. He's also going for his 4th straight title. We're up against it. We'll come back. We have a fun new segment, the Mo Club Museum, where we talk about all the awesome photos that are in the Mo Club, just homages to sports history around the state of Montana. We'll do that on the other side. Don't change the doc. Keep it right here, 129 ESPN Radio.
Bring the whole family to the Stone of Accord for a wonderful brunch. From traditional comfort food to eclectic specials, there's something for everyone to enjoy. And it wouldn't be a proper Missoula brunch without an Irish coffee and a mimosa. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair, restaurant, liquor store, and casino. At the Stone of Accord, we use the freshest ingredients to create our homemade traditional Irish classics, fresh salads, and creative specials. Come enjoy our warm, family-friendly atmosphere. The Stone of Accord, Irish fare with Montana flair, restaurant, liquor store, and casino.
Access to Montana's great backyard is the best part of being a Grizzly. At the University of Montana, our classrooms are the mountain peaks, river valleys, and never-ending plains of the Big Sky country. We provide students with the hands-on training to protect and enjoy hunting, conservation, and stewardship. UM launches the careers of outdoor leaders so that they can protect our traditions and ensure they are passed down for future generations. Because what's made in Montana is remaking the world.
Why would any business let you use their product and give you 365 days of reassurance? Mattress Firm does because they believe in their mattresses. Save on top brands like Nectar, Tempur-Pedic, Beautyrest, Serta, Stearns & Foster, and others. Mattress Firm carries $149 mattresses all the way up to the luxury Purple Rejuvenate Premier. 0% in payments as low as $39 a month, along with 365 days of reassurance. See why Mattress Firm is Montana's best place to find the sleep you deserve.
Mattress Firm, where it's easy to get a great night's sleep.
Mountain Town Vacation Rental Management, your local partner for vacation rental success. We provide a fully customized hosting experience tailored to your needs and goals. Your home is listed on every major site, helping you maximize visibility and bookings. And our local team is available 24/7 to handle guest needs and booking inquiries. Let us take the stress out of managing your vacation home. Contact us today at mountaintownvrm.com or give us a call at 406-369-3080.
Is Nuanez Now on 102.9 ESPN Radio Missoula.
Nuanez Now, watch that ESPN Radio, SWX Montana Television, and the ESPN MT app. We don't have much time. If you're missing the show, you can always find it on the Nuanez Now podcast. We do have just a brief minute to do a Mo Club Museum. There is a variety of awesome sort of historical photos that reside in the Mo Club in downtown Missoula. And we're just going to highlight one a week because I just think it's a great opportunity to have content about the history of sports in and around Montana. Steve Okanowski was an awesome player for the Montana Grizzlies in the early 1970s, a guy that maybe not a ton of people know about. But Okanowski told me an unbelievable story. He had just finished up his career with the Montana Grizzlies. He'd played a year for the Buffalo Bills in the NFL, but then he was back in Missoula, hanging, fishing, all that stuff. And at 1:30 in the morning, he's hanging out down at the Mo Club. And some guy walks up to him and shows him the latest Missoulian. And it has the headline that he had been traded to the Green Bay Packers. Okanowski has no idea that this has happened. Nobody could contact him. He didn't have a phone. So he's been traded. He reads about it in the paper in Missoula. But Okanowski was a legend among legends. He passed away a couple years ago. He's one of my favorite guys I've ever met. Absolutely character, man. Hilarious. Could tell stories for days and days and days. His Montana Football Hall of Fame bio that I had the honor of writing was unbelievable. I mean, he gave me so many quotes. I could have written 10,000 words on this guy just because his quotes were so great. But he was a second-round draft pick by Atlanta in 1972. Then he played for the Bills. Then he played for the Packers. Ended up playing 6 years in the NFL. Then he returned to Green Bay as an athletic administrator, and he was a football coach as well. He lived there for the remainder of his life, but he always came back to Missoula, one of my favorites. Mo Club Museum, probably presented by the Mo Club, downtown Missoula. Burgers are delicious. The beer is always cold. They're serving tradition every single day at the Mo Club. We'll be back at it tomorrow. We're going to be coming to you live from Missoula County Public Stadium. We're going to be covering some track and some softball. Hopefully there's not too many delays, so we'll get you as many results as we can, as many live guests as we can, and we'll have a whole bunch of fun doing it. So we'll see you then at 4 p.m. Appreciate the time. Thanks so much for hanging out. It's been Nuanez Now, 102.9 ESPN Radio.